Your hair looks really
Okay, cool. Oh, thanks, man. That's a mess. Look at that. Where's it going?
Did you do that in Adobe Dimension?
Yeah, I wish.
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah. Good times.
Well, first of all, thank you, dude. Thanks for making the time to come to the class, guys. Give them a round of applause for joining.
You're too kind. Happy to
Really
be here.
appreciate it. And I think this is a perfect app to kind of start messing with. I think a few of them have tried around a little bit, but knowing what they do in all their other projects, they can bring some of their projects to life probably more than they ever thought of with the help of this tutorial and this app. So that's why I thought it'd be a good idea to get you in here and learn it firsthand.
Yeah, that sounds great to me as well. Well, cool.
You want to take it away?
Yeah. I'll just kind of dive right in. Yeah, and I mean, you know, I do this on occasion. Feel free to like follow me on social media. Here's some fun stuff that I've like made in Dimensions. You could do some crazy things, or you could do some more realistic things as well. I kind of go through the gamut of, you know, I wanted some 3D type, so I rendered this out in Dimension. So Dimension ends up being your gateway drug to other 3D apps. Okay, cool.
And you're using it for so much more than just packaging. You're showing how you can actually do compositions and really cool things in general.
Yeah.
Did we freeze them?
Be following along, maybe not. You can if you want to. I'm just going to use the starter assets, just so everybody knows.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right. Let's close down a lot of this stuff. And I'll just launch Dimension. I'll start with the new project. You know, create new. And basically what Adobe Dimension allows you to do is do a lot of this compositing the same way that you know, Photoshop doesn't take photos. Photoshop is a compositing engine, basically, using 2D, and this uses 3D. You're not doing any modeling in Adobe Dimension, but you're compositing those models and mapping graphics onto 3D objects, basically. And we'll walk through all of this, but we're going to just start with something simple. Honestly, this is probably the demo that everybody does because it's so straightforward. But when you start out, you have your starter assets, right? And it usually defaults to this menu of models off to the side. So hopefully you can see that. So typically I'll just grab one of these and just drop it on, like this coffee cup. Okay? Pretty straightforward. It should lay it right on that plane, right? And we can see we have these controls, and we can start moving this object around. And this is like every 3D app out there. They all have these controls to some degree, right? You're going to have the movement using these movement arrows. You're going to be able to scale it, and they're going to be able to rotate it. So if I wanted to scale this up, I can grab this and I can make it taller or shorter, but really what I want to do is I want to hold down the Shift key and scale it proportionately, all right? Just so you know, these are the on-object controls. And typically you'll move it around, you're like, oh no, it's floating, you know, it's floating above the table, I didn't want that. I usually go over here and look at this fun little, we're familiar with, like this is our layers panel. Here's my coffee cup. Here's the different objects that make up my coffee cup. But right down here we get a ton of fun properties that we can work with. So you'll see these change. I often reference this one right here because this allows me to move this to the ground. So I think this is fun. As you start to mess with it, you're like, no, just put it on the ground. We'll just put it on the ground. Right? Perfect. Right? That's what I want. These properties will change based on what is selected as well. So whether it's the camera, the environment, the coffee cup, you get the idea. Taking a look off to the side, we have these tools. I don't need to go through all of them, but like this first section is dealing with the object. The second section is dealing with the environment. So I'll use these a lot, like the orbit tool. Now I'm moving around this scene, which is great, right? I could zoom in and out as well. So these are the key, this is what I end up using. In fact, if you roll over each one, you'll notice the orbit tool is going to be 1. Start to use these shortcuts. Hand tool to pan around is going to be 2, and the dolly to kind of zoom in and out is 3. So hold down 3, and zoom in and out. You get the idea.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Go ahead.
Okay, when you go to the top arrow, the selecting tool or whatever, and you click on your object, and you got the 3 color kind of thing there. So you said yellows for one thing, blues for one thing, and reds for the other, right?
Yes. But it's
so
more like
the
shape.
Need to toggle.
What's that?
I've been toggling with the arrows on the top. I didn't realize you don't need to really, because this you could do all the movement you need to without having to change your tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
exactly. And I can just grab the object and move it around.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of get the idea for controlling it once you select that arrow. Hopefully that all makes sense.
Cool. Okay.
Feel free to play with and this is what you do. You move things around. You mess with things, and we could always kind of reference the properties off to the side. We can see that the z-axis it's off. Oh, you screwed it up, Paul. Just 0. It's back to normal. And then I usually drop it back onto the ground. And then I also use this button up at the top. Zoom to fit selection, because sometimes you'll even import a model and it's massive. You can spend some time kind of shrinking it down, and maybe it does need to be smaller, but we could always zoom that to fit the selection of the object, and then we can start playing with it some more, right?
Awesome.
So you'll eventually kind of move that around. We're kind of moving it around just for fun. We really don't even know half this what we're doing just yet. What we are going to do is we're going to drop in a background. We'll play with the lighting, drop something on this particular object as well. So off to the side, we have models as our default. We have models here. You could scroll through that all day long. Plenty that you could do with a lot of these basic shapes, to be honest with you. You have your materials, your lighting, and then you have images, which is kind of like your background and your decals. So what you slap on objects. But we'll go to this 4th section, which is going to be images. And we'll see this table right here. This is kind of what we want to do. We want to grab that table, just drop it on the background. And this is the new environment. Okay? You can see over here, and again, we're in the environment section. Right down here, it applied that as the background. That's great. We want to go to match image, right? And this will change the lighting. Okay, it'll create lights based on that background, match the aspect ratio. I could always check any of those, but I'll just go ahead and click that. You're going to see what it does. Okay, thank you. It recognizes what it can see as a horizon line and puts it on the table in this case, and it changes the lights. Okay. We can see the shadow right here, how it's casting this direction. You may or may not like that, and that's what happens when you use different images. You might not like the lighting. Well, you can change the rotation of that lighting, right? Looks like we have multiple lighting sources in here. But as you can see, I can kind of rotate that down so that highlights maybe on the front of the cup right there to get this the way I want. And I could still move this on this plane as I'd like to, scooting that back a little bit and get the idea. Okay? This is all pretty straightforward, hopefully, so far. Yeah?
Yeah.
Should be.
Definitely.
It's super easy. Always keep in mind kind of what you have selected, especially as we dive into this new part, because I'm okay, I want to apply I actually can work with the lighting. We'll deal with that later. I actually want to apply an image to the cup itself. Just kind of be mindful of what you have selected over here, just like you would in Illustrator or Photoshop. Your properties down below are going to change accordingly. But that might be easy. Also, I could just double-click, and then I can select that specific cup material. But the short of it is I want to throw a decal on this. I want to throw an image. So in that same area, right down here, you can see the images. If you scroll down, you'll have some decals that you could drop on there. So grab any one of these and drop it on there. I'm going to grab this brand logo just for fun and drop it right on that coffee cup. And we'll see it will apply it accordingly. Right, so we have this. We could have some fun with it. You're obviously going to see these controls on it, just like you would manipulate anything else, right? You're going to go ahead and scale it, rotate it, and get it the way you want, right? And it's wrapping around this particular coffee cup. Notice up here, we actually did not, we have the ability to have multiple graphics and multiple materials as well. So it didn't actually replace the material, which is awesome, because we could change that later on too. We can change it now if we want to. But we have that mapped on there. It's looking pretty good. Again, the base color is just this texture. It looks like it's an image. I can change that to like a white if I want to, right? I can go to my materials, which is the second tab, and I can grab this sort of glossy material and drop it right on that, and that actually makes it a glossy paper. It's a little more reflective, and I can tap into any one of these, right? Yeah. Here's plastic.
Make it wood.
You get the idea. I could make it wood.
Copper.
I know, like, ooh, yeah, we could make it like, yeah, we could make it super bougie. We could have you could be that guy in the coffee shop with the brass coffee, looks fancy. Or here's clean gold if you want to be that guy. Right, you have gold and you have silver. And it's reflecting the environment, which is awesome.
The world's most expensive coffee cup.
Yeah. I know. Look at that.
Hey,
and
Paul, for the assets, so I know you're using the ones that are in the starter, but if they are to make assets and put it in the library, any tips on is a PNG the best? Do you just take whatever you have and drop it into libraries? Any tips?
We'll totally get into that, because that's probably what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to have something made in Illustrator or Photoshop. Let's kind of jump in here really fast.
Cool.
Gosh, I don't even know what Wait for it. All right, perfect. So here's some logos. Actually, I think this is an Illustrator file. So imagine you created this logo for this coffee company. It's going to open up in a second. Just got to wait for it. Here it is, right? Solar roasted coffee. Why not? There it is. In our libraries panel, I just have a folder called Luna. So that's a library in there. I can take that and just drop it in. And I'm doing this, making sure I don't have a background, but it's actually a vector asset that I could change later. So it's artwork 12. This is a final logo. So we think it's our final logo. Right? We'll go into Dimension, and instead of locating starter assets, we want to switch this to libraries. Right? We change that to libraries. I know if you could throw something in a library, that's great. Libraries, change that to Luna, and then locate that logo. I know it's this. That looks like that just says logo. Oh, it is at the top. Oops.
Background.
Yeah. Well, I kind of screwed up things. That back there. It is right at the top. I was making it too hard on myself. Dropping it on there. Notice how it actually just adds it on top. Well, I can take that second one. I can delete it. Right. I can take that initial logo. Now we have our Luna. The graphic that we created. In fact, what I'm going to do is that now that I see this, I'm like, ooh, it'd be better if that was white. Should be able to jump in here, change it. Make sure you double click on it so you're changing the correct one. And then I'll change this just to a nice clean white in this case. Saving it. We'll see it update here. There, it's updated. Close that. Go back out, and you can see it's updated here. Right? So this is already pretty cool, a good way to kind of just showcase your work maybe a little bit better than just, the logo. You know how to do all the rest of this. From there, probably you're going to want to render it out. So going into rendering, Luna, you get the idea. It's going to make a PSD. And it's going to give you all these different layers for selections, and then even a depth map, which is pretty fun. So this should only take a second. I think the depth map stuff is kind of fun, but it's nice that you get all the layers in here. Wait for it.
Question? We got a question. Hold
By the way, there's... Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
You know how you have options for backgrounds, such as the background coffee shop? Are you able to take your own photography and use it as background?
Yeah, for sure. The same way I would drop that on here, I'd grab my own background, because I even have those in here under that same folder. I think I have some different backgrounds that I want to use. Like, I like this one, but it's a little too standard for me. This might be a different photo or whatever, dropping that in there. And then if it senses a horizon line of some sort, you should be able to select match image, and it will match the horizon line. It will change the lighting. But this is, again, a different photo maybe that I took, and now it obviously looks different. Right? Okay, there's more we could do. There's like 1,000 things we could do. I'm going to get really excited at this moment, and I'm trying to calm down. Okay, so here's my PSD guide. Opening this up, we see it. These are the additional layers that I was talking about. So we have, if I turn this on, you can see some of these are just for selecting. So you could select that and do some color adjustments, whatever you want. And then you also have this one as well. This is your depth map. Nick, you've probably seen this. I don't know if we've talked about this, but we could go ahead and export this out as a Luna_depth to my desktop as a JPEG, and then it will export out just this whole image as just luna.jpg. And this is just kind of where you see that on like Facebook and stuff. I think Facebook is the only place that I've really seen this, but you know, you have the ability to do this pseudo 3D. Let's go in here. Let's just grab these.
Oh, yeah.
Let's grab these two. Let's drop them in here real fast. It should sense that it's a 3D photo because I named them correctly. So I named this _depth. It notices that, and it will composite it, and now we have that
what the heck? On Facebook?
like depth.
That's amazing.
Instagram and stuff.
Boy, anything else to stop you while you're scrolling on Facebook?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just kind of it is pretty cool. Like you'll learn kind of what looks good and what doesn't. If you have an abstract background, it usually works a little better because it's kind of doing it's making up pixels behind the cup. But all in all, that looks pretty good.
Wow, man, that's
Quick
pretty
little
interesting.
demo of dimension. There we go. So yeah, posted publicly. So you guys could probably see that out there. What is this? Just stop it. Your spam. Stop it with your spam. Either way, super fun, and then you can start to get real creative with this. And you can even kind of get a little bit more abstract. So this is a really straightforward example of selling in a logo to a client. But obviously, like I was kind of trying to show with like Instagram how you can have some fun with some of this as well. Like, again, grab anything that you want. And you're probably wondering, like, where do you get these models? You have your default in starter assets, right? We have some here. You could make your own as long as it's an OBJ. So I can come in here, in fact. In Photoshop, I can make 3D objects, by the way. And then you just got to remember that it's let's do the check. Let's see how fast it goes. You got to make sure it is an OBJ file. That's the big thing. It's taking this text, scaling it up, make it black like that, and then 3D. We're gonna do a 3D extrusion. We're just going to extrude this text. I just need, I want to make something kind of fun for the client, right? So here's my 3D text. Just like in Dimension, it matters kind of like what's selected. In this case, it's the object. Maybe I want to select the current view, and then I can rotate around and I can see the different sides of this. There's a bunch of materials on all the different sides of this. I could care less about that. All I wanted to do was extrude the text. And there's, again, a ton of other things I could do if I go into properties. I could do, play with the bevel on it and all sorts of things. But all I'm going to do is export this out, export this 3D layer as an OBJ. Okay. I'm not even going to worry about the size, desktop. There's my OBJ done, right? So you could take the client name, extrude that, and now you have a 3D object that you could bring into Dimension to really kind of sell this product. So importing that 3D model. That was just made quite simply. There's the OBJ open. It's probably really large or really small. I don't know. Yep, it's really large.
That's awesome.
I knew it was going to be something. It was going to be something ridiculous. Zoom to fit selection. Oh, there it is. Hello. Right, there's that bevel that you actually couldn't see. You could really see that bevel now. But now what's cool is we can go in, grab a cool material, and use it on that. Grab that coffee cup, bring the coffee cup forward, shoop, kind of like that. Scale it up, holding shift key, right? And do something like this. We'll make it a little abstract, kind of rotate it. Okay, so here's the coffee, so I'm going to drop in some. This is just like a bag of coffee, because we also want to sell, like, hey, we want to do the branding for everything that they have. There's that. There's this. Boop, drop it on there. Oh, let me show you something really. Actually, so much to show you. So check this. Let's see if this. I'm gonna go off script and see how fast I could break this, which is gonna be pretty fast. Ooh, here we go. Let's do this. I'm gonna delete this. So we know how to put it already on an object, and actually that's pretty good. We'll scale this down. What I want to do is I want to create a cool tile where some of it is matte and some of it is shiny. So for this bag, that's what I want to do. So we'll go back in here. We'll grab a cool material. Let's just do this metal. Because as I drop on this metal, okay, it looks pretty cool. For this food pouch, for this metal, I have metallic, the metallic aspect. So I'm going to see if I could do this. If I click this plus sign, I can drop an image on the metallic part. So let's see what happens if I take that logo, metallic part. Okay, good. Repeat 10 times like that. There we go. Look, that's what I wanted to do. And let's rotate it 40 degrees. See what's happening there? I kind of wanted to create this matte and glossy look, just creating a cool pattern from the logo by dropping that onto the metallic texture, making part of it metallic, some of it metallic, some of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, so I think that turned out pretty cool. Let me show you something else that's really cool. Are you ready for this? You're gonna love this. This is fun. I want to do a shallow depth of field. So I want some stuff to kind of maybe be in the front. Some stuff behind. And check this out. Let's go to the camera. We're going to go down here to focus. Okay? I want to focus on just the logo on the coffee cup in the center. So turning that on, set focus point right there. Okay? Now let's change the blur amount to something a little higher. We're not initially going to see this, but if we go right up here, we can go ahead and see a render preview. So clicking right here, probably need a lot more blur. But you'll start to see some of that blurriness. See what's happening there? So we get the blurriness here. And I don't know if it's going to work on the background, but it will work with the 3D objects. Just technically, the background isn't a 3D object. Do you see what's happening there? How it's going to start blurring out this, and then keeping this really sharp. And this will increase your render time. It might increase your render time, but you get some pretty cool results from it. So let me just go to something that you saw on Instagram, something that's already rendered. Which one of these? One of these two. I did that with this one, for instance. Nick, I don't know how long I'm supposed to go, by the way.
We got till about 6, so we got 30 more minutes.
Okay, cool. So you can see that's what I did here. It's like I actually applied a color lookup, but you can see how this gets blurred out. It's like I focused on the flowers, but a little bit of the rib cage is blurring out, and definitely the arm back there. And I think it kind of brings things to another level in this case, because I really wanted to focus on the flower. Just makes it look, I don't know, pretty sharp.
Yeah.
if you
But
ask me.
it's actually just making it more realistic, is what I mean. Like that's what you would
Yeah.
really see. Not everything can be in complete focus, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So, and I think for this, what I actually did, I showed you how to actually do a quick model in Photoshop. You could go out and get a ton of, you could get assets from Adobe Stock, right? We can come out here, we say, hey, you know what, search for 3D, we'll do skull, right, or skeleton. You could see those assets. I've already got a couple of them. These do cost money. There's also places like Turbo Squid, and you can come in here and like skeleton or something. And then what you do is you sort price, you just change it to free, and these are all your free models available to you. And we also know that the format needs to be OBJ, so I could always check that. 9 times out of 10, they're already OBJ. But these are all the free models that are available to me, thanks to Turbo Squid and the people who made this stuff. So I would start here if you're looking for something, and then maybe you need to go to Adobe Stock, you know. But if it's an average object, chances are it's already made and it's already out there. Okay, and if you want to just extrude a logo that you made, you literally just use Photoshop to do that and put it in dimension like I did a second ago. And then when it comes to rendering, obviously I did this low. It's just did low and fast, so it's you know, it's somewhat detailed. I think I did this one at a high render. This was like a pretty high quality render, and it probably took like, I think it took like 6 hours, just to give you an idea. Just running on my laptop, which is a MacBook Pro. Right, so if you're going to do something that has lots of reflections and depth of field and all this stuff, might take a while. But what you do is you set it up to render overnight, and then you see where you messed up in the morning. That's usually what happens. I screwed that up.
And then late in that night, you do it again.
and that is your life as a 3D designer. Pretty much. There is this as well, Cloud Beta, so you can actually render out a PSD at. Let's do high. It'll save to my Creative Cloud files, just right here, and I'll just hit render. Must be saved. Okay, you gotta save it first. Save. And then yeah, so that's just the cloud rendering, basically.
And so it only saves on the cloud.
Yeah, and then I download it. It like uploads the model, another machine, somewhere, renders it, turns the file to you.
Oh, it's not even being rendered on your machine; it's going off completely.
No. Yeah, exactly.
And that keeps your, because I do notice in rendering mode, it's using a lot of the Mac basically. It's using a lot of the power. Yeah, and you'll hear your fan kick in and all this stuff. But there with cloud rendering, I'm sure everybody gets like some credits for free, and then costs money after a while. But I can continue working here. This again is just the preview render. I typically that pops out. That's what's going on there. But I can continue to work on this. You could get into some fun things, and I'll just kind of move through this really fast. Let's get a fun background in there. Right, there's a fun background. We need to change a lot of things. Because the environment light actually needs to be, let's drop this on again. I need to change the environment light. So as soon as I drop on a background, I need to go into here, actions, match the, I can resize the canvas to it, the current size if I want to, but definitely create lights based on that. That should be the new background. Oh wow!
And then let's get into some fun lights. Actually, is what I wanted to do. Let's go to starter assets. This is the only category that we haven't covered. Is right here for the lighting. Pretty straightforward lights. You can come down here and get into some fun ones. Some studio color stage lights. As I drop that on, you can see how it changes the look. Try this other one. You get the idea. So we go from something that's realistic to something that is potentially just like more fun and can be just a fun abstract version of selling this product in this case. Right, there we are.
Nice.
You get the idea.
And you can
Here's
change
only,
this. You can change
just
the
drop
fill of
that.
this
Let's make.
splash there.
Yeah, I'm gonna change this. Technically, this is a beer, but we're gonna pretend that it's coffee. Okay. But there's my coffee splashing in there, and again, I'm just doing something that's a little more abstract in this case for this.
How do you is the movement of your objects what designates them as far as arrangement? Like putting something behind something, does that go automatically, or is that something you handle in layers or in your properties?
You have to. You typically handle it in your scene by selecting and moving those objects around. But typically, what you do, so like once I have this set up, and let me just go ahead and fix my camera because my focus point still needs to be like right there. But what you'll do is you'll come up here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. You will come up to. Let's get this view that I want, quite frankly. Zooming in on this, we want like something with like a lot of motion that's kind of dynamic, like that. Something like that, okay? And then I'll come up here to my camera bookmarks, and this is where I would add a bookmark that says, main view, or my final view. Now I can play with this all day long, because chances are that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to manipulate this. You're going to have to say, okay, I got to rotate up. Oh, now I kind of get an idea. I accidentally like screwed up the size of this, moving this at one point. Right, and I could fix that. But you can mess with the view all day long, and then you just go back to your bookmark when you're ready to render. Right? So that's what you do. Like here's your frame. Also keep in mind the size as you get into this. If you just click off of the off of any object into this gray area, you can go to the properties, and you can see it's actually not even that big. 1024 by I need to make this 1024 because it's going to be for. Or 1080. 1080, you get the idea.
There you go.
The nice thing is this is, pretty resolution independent, but obviously the size of this has changed somewhat. And then right up here, I'd say, fit this to the canvas. This is sort of the frame that I want. They want this to be an Instagram post or something. Now we have the right size. So.
Question on the resolution. I know when you do new document or new file, you have on the 3 points, you have extra options when you open a new document for size there and resolution. Should you, obviously sometimes you need something really, if you need the resolution to be big and you're using it in a case study, should you do it there first before you build anything, or can you go to the properties like you have now and actually enlarge it?
I would probably do it later, to be honest with you, especially if you're in the creation process. Think of like Illustrator, since basically this is pretty resolution independent. You could play around all day long in Illustrator until you get to the point where you're like, okay, I need to kind of get this down to the right size. You scale things up or scale things down, and use those the properties over here to do so.
Cool.
Right.
Okay.
But you can see that right here.
And your assets are the same too, as far as resolution. As long as they're vector, there's nothing wrong with them.
Just I guess you just have to worry about the background. Anything that's pixel based, just be aware of that. Right? My background, if it's low quality, it's gonna, it's only gonna, just like in Illustrator, it's only gonna give you what you gave it. It's only gonna be, that good. So.
All right.
But I find people mess up when they maybe they have the wrong thing selected. So just kind of be aware of this. Like if you can't select something or something's a little funky, a lot of times you'll look at this, like my coffee cup, this will be, rolled up. Well, just know that you could double click on that and you can see multiple objects, especially if you download them from the internet. Like a skeleton could have 1,000 parts, and just be aware of that. You could actually select multiple if you want to. Or even drop a texture on the entire object, and it'll apply that texture to the whole thing.
And when it's separated like that, you can control the surface, the fill, the reflect, all that, right? And I've even on some of the caps of some of the packaging samples you get, you can if you extend the whole thing, you can go back to the cap and make the cap back to its regular size. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't get if you need to extrude like the bottle that has a cap on it.
Yeah, yeah, perfectly. Yeah, so you could extend. You can adjust the size and proportions of things like all day long. If you needed a venti versus I don't know, whatever I don't know what they say. I just know venti from Starbucks. It's like venti. I go in there and say, give me a medium. I don't care about your stupid sizes. Grande, no, it's a medium. Just give me a medium.
You're that guy.
But anyway, medium, you're large. You can make those different sizes and different proportions. You just can't make anything in dimension. Is the thing, and that's where it stands now. Even being honest with you, I don't know what we're gonna do kind of going forward. It's kind of like if people want to. I mean, you can in Photoshop, and that's not even the 3D product, right? So I'm thinking, well, why can't you in dimension? You know, and then you think about animation. Like, could we just do a zoom in on this and just do a quick little, you know, camera push in on this logo? Is that a thing that can happen someday? You know? So we'll see.
That would be great. Even like if you did a can or a cylinder shaped thing, turning it to show full, you know, full view of it. That'd be a great thing to export.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. Excuse me.
Can you do that?
Okay, you could. Yes, you could do a couple things. Let me think about this. Yes. Okay. Well, we can do it. Okay, we do this. We can do this fun thing. Let me just log into Arrow real fast.
Oh yeah.
So to answer your question, you can upload. Models to Behance, and there should. Man, I'm sorry. I'm just like going through the recesses.
Would you actually place the model in Arrow and then film your perspective of it going around it? Is that what
you can.
Yeah. Have you guys seen this?
I know there's something like
Arrow is a new app that they have on the phone, and basically anything you build 3D, you can pull it up from your Creative Cloud library. You can put your packaging concept in the middle of a store next to competitors, and film it through Arrow and see how yours looks against all the competition. Like, it's just a great way of bringing it into another environment.
Oh, that's what it's called, Arrow?
Arrow, yeah. And that's out of beta now, right? That's legit? Arrow?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. And that's what I'm logging into it right now, so I should be able to show you, because you noticed, first of all, Sketchfab is what I was thinking. You can upload a model to Sketchfab and you'll get a 3D, you'll be able to rotate that object around in 3D space. That's what Sketchfab allows you to do. Get some partnership with them or whatever. You're talking about Arrow. Let's go back. We get it right in here. We can go to File, Export, Selected for Arrow. Oh, nothing's selected, actually. Let's cancel out of that. Cancel. I don't know if anything was selected, but let's just select everything.
Oh, so you can do your whole
Export.
composite. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll find out if this is a good idea or not in a second. I mean, because I just want it to be fast. Your asset or is it? Oh. Okay. Cancel. Let's just do this really fast. Let's just take the coffee cup. And I do need to probably rotate this. Export this. Selected for Arrow. And it is ready. Export. It's putting it in my Creative Cloud files, so we're just calling this Luna. Creative Cloud files. Save. Give me 1 second.
Cool.
Go to QuickTime. 1 second.
Oh, the truth. Revealed.
Yeah.
Green screen.
I know. It's like,
Take us to the wizard.
where There we go.
Oh,
So this is arrow. It's finding surfaces. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Surface factors up.
there it is.
Creative cloud. I don't know. Just let me select starter assets.
Oh, nothing different.
I think I'm in tutorial mode. Let me get out of here. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So you do have to pan around, and it's going to find a surface. And you usually need something with a lot of patterns. We'll just point it there, or actually, excuse me. Let's just go. There we go. I'll leave these cards in that state. Create. Cloud.
Ah, there we go.
You know.
Yeah. I'll show you the other one. It's pretty insane.
All right, it's okay. So that's no fun.
Hey, but it's 3D.
Called like Adobe?
Yeah. AERO.
Why can't it import assets? So it's not me. Try this one more time.
And we'll leave the last 10 minutes or so for some questions if you guys have, okay? Yep. That's great. That's really great. I was gonna show you. Have you seen that? Is that like the other? It's all free objects, and you can find like a little lemon wedge. Again, watch. Search for lemon. Oh, this is scary.
I just had to launch it.
There we go. That's neat. And you just save those, and then, like he showed, you go into, you add it as a 3D object, and it brings it into dimension. That's scary. That's scary fast. It'd be cool if Adobe Capture like let you see the peanut butter cup. That's from Polly. The spoon. Oh shoot. The chocolate bar. Isn't that cool? All right, here we go.
I'm going to use one of their starter assets.
Yeah. No worries.
Fine. I'm going to break it. Let's try this one more time.
Come on now.
Come on, buddy, do your thing. And
Tap to place asset.
oh, there we go.
There it is.
Got it.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I did not
Right on your
select.
keyboard.
I just selected the cup itself. But
That's cool. But
so
that's
here
neat
it
to
is.
know.
Add a behavior to it. On start, let's have it spin and
then you
play.
found this.
Right, so that's what's happening. We click preview, so now it just did a quick spin.
All right. That's one way to
And
do
now
it.
I'm actually, I could record a video of it as well. Let's go back in there, tap preview, see it spins on start. Or I could actually edit this to delete sequence. You get the idea.
Yeah.
This is how you add animation. So let's just do this. Behaviors: trigger, touch, action, bounce. Not. This is going to be silly. All right, let's preview. There it is. If I tap on it, it bounces.
Nice.
Right.
That's awesome.
And then I could record. I'm recording now, and it just recorded that bounce. Stop. share with whoever, right? But this is even good to be like, this is actually fun to sell a product to a client. Hey, you wanted that logo? Hey, I showed you a picture of it on a cup. Here it is. This is what it looks like in 3D space, in case you're wondering. So, anyways,
it adds a whole other thing to that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, super fun.
Guys, any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Sebastian.
Is After Effects a way to, like, can I throw my assets from Dimension into After Effects and create like a 3D rendering too, like Arrow, or?
Yeah, I did. So when it comes to After Effects, it's a little bit different. You probably wouldn't. You're probably almost even too advanced to use. I don't know. Wait, what did you say in relation to Arrow or Dimension?
In relation to Dimension, like, can I achieve the same effects as Arrow in After Effects?
Yeah, probably what you're going to want to do there is use Cinema 4D Lite. That's kind of the 3D for After Effects, and that will give you these same results. Maybe a little better, but there's no interplay between Dimension and After Effects right now. So you know.
Who else had a question? Did you have a question?
No, I was actually going to ask if we could animate yet.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Question answer.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Is there like, I know that Adobe recently acquired. What is it called? Substance. Is there any like plans to bring the Substance Painter and Substance like products into like part of the subscription, or is it going to remain separate?
Yeah, we don't know 100%. I think that's like a 2020 question that we'll dive into next year, since we did just acquire them. But did you notice off to the side over here, in terms of the Substance materials? Yeah, there you go. So we're looking at integrating that more. It's almost like two different audiences, but it does expose the Adobe audience to Substance Painter and all the Substance materials and all that fun stuff. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you have?
Oh yeah.
Ask me genuine first.
Just to clarify, X or Dimensions only works with OBJ files.
Yeah. Let me double check that. There might. I'm pretty sure there might be another extension or whatever, but OBJ being the most common, that's the one I usually say. It actually might be another type as well. I just don't know. So that's.
I found when I loaded up a new 3D object, it asked you what kind it was, and I think Dimension had 3 choices. One, it was like OBJ, G, or J, and then something else, and then another one. I can't remember what it was. When you go to import it into it or load it
into Dimension.
Yeah, I did. You click on the plus button on the top left. The plus button right there, yeah, and then add 3D object. I think is it, or your own
3D
file,
model. Yeah. It doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't even give me. It doesn't give me any indication. If I go to import 3D model, there's other things, but.
Okay, yeah, it'll take an OBJ, an FBX, a DN, or an STL.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Okay,
So
thank you. Perfect. Of course, at the end. Yeah. Perfect. An STL. Got it.
Cool.
Um,
You know when you bring in a just a square box, right, from your models, and let's say you have exact dimensions of that box that you've made art for, can you control the box dimensions in Dimension?
Yeah, you can.
So guys, if you do any packaging design, you can literally just bring in a square box from the models, and he'll show you here. So, okay, go for it.
Yeah, I mean you get the idea, but just right down here, we could make sure that the size is exactly right, and if we get into well, that's just scale, but I wonder if I did inches in here. One.
Can you also add like one color backgrounds to your Dimension projects?
Like just solid color? Yes. Gradations, everything. Yeah. Cool. So
yeah, you got
those
it.
Dimensions, that's where you change the box or whatever model you have to the size you need.
Yeah. And it'll convert it because I just typed in inches and then it just converted it to centimeters. Maybe in preferences I might be able to change that to from inches to, or from centimeters to inches, or not.
Now, does Dimensions have a flattening or an unpacking feature where it'll give you kind of like a guide to use for when you're making a texture, basically for the 3D object?
No. That's like a good question. Like if you brought in something really complex, a more complex shape, how does what are the dimensions? I see what you're saying, and there's nothing like that right now. Just so you know. No. Sorry.
Okay. So for if I wanted really exact mapping of a box, I would have to just do it by trial and error.
Yeah, you'd have to know the size of the box, know the size of each side, and when you drop that on, make sure it's that size, 2 inches by 2 inches, and then you drop it in, and you got to make sure that's 2 inches by 2 inches, or 100%, whatever. So you just got to kind of have your math all squared away.
Yeah.
So,
what's nice too is
there's no.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. There's nothing in Photoshop, for instance, you could actually see what the mapping of this particular object looks like, and you can't currently do that in Dimension. So the front material properties right here, new texture, you'll get how that will be mapped onto that object. Anyway, so you don't get a flat. So see, this is a flat image of the front. So I get a lot of control over what goes where, but that's not currently available in Dimension. That being said, I could actually export out this OBJ, and I know it can do it. It did it earlier, didn't it? Yeah. I could actually do that in Photoshop and then load it into Dimension, and it will remember all those settings. Basically, with an OBJ, you have the materials that travel with the project, with the model.
Cool. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Are you able to do that 3D effect that he did on Facebook on LinkedIn?
Probably not. Did you hear that?
I don't think as of today, no.
Facebook is the first to do the whole 3D and moving thing. I doubt it, but that's a good. Just knowing how to do it means if someone else offers it, you would do it the same way. He just loaded them up on there. But yeah, if LinkedIn was smart, they'd probably do it. Well, it's all carousels.
And it's kind of that Facebook thing. You're trying to, you're taking a 2D image and its depth map and trying to make it look 3D. At least with Arrow, I could actually record this video and then post it to any platform that accepts video. Because this gives me a better idea of the object than the depth map. So anyways.
Any other questions, guys? We all feel good? We're all experts now? Yeah?
Well, and I must say, I think Dimension is not that complex right now. I'm glad everybody's, getting into it now. Now, because get into products when they're at a 1.0 stage and make your life a lot easier. Between this and, X. Because we've all opened up Photoshop and gotten scared. I get it.
Yeah. And also, too, you can use capture for a surface, right? Or texture, and it can be in your library.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing. If you need this exact wood grain, you can snap a picture of it, and it's now a texture in Dimension. That's pretty amazing.
How do you upload it to your library?
You do it right through capture on your phone. And
then you just put upload to library.
It goes right to, and you can even be specific as, keep your libraries in really good projects, your project folders, so that it's not just everything out there, so you can find them easy, or and always title them, because then you can just search for them. But yeah, you take if your client has a specific marble or something that's totally exclusive to the brand, you can snapshot that and now use it in Dimension as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, good call. That is pretty cool.
Anybody else? We good? Awesome. Good. You got a final. I think everyone's going to do something, and then I'm going to try to get it. We'll put them all on a weekend to give them something. And I'll send you everybody's first shot at convention.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
Am I back now? Sorry.
Yeah. All right, good. One more question.
How do I like delete all the? I have like 7 libraries for some reason. I don't know if this is the right place to ask.
Yeah, no. Like I get it. Like trust me, that's what I do in my spare time. Is I organize my libraries, and the best thing is just do it in Illustrator or Photoshop.
Okay, cool.
And move those libraries to other. That's what I do in my spare time. Is I organize all that stuff because it gets crazy.
Is there any way to do that, like, in the new Creative Cloud app or like?
Ooh, actually, yes, you can.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
Good thing I asked.
Yeah. So your work. Let's take a look at this.
Oh, there you go.
Nature.
Also.
And it looks like I can't move them, but I could take this. It's pretty much the same functionality, but I like this view much better.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to see everything. So that's a good call.
I'm going to tell Michael you didn't remember that, Paul.
I know. Yeah, kill me.
But you're right. So if anywhere you do it, though, it's universal because it's anything you change or delete, it's going to do it everywhere, right?
Yeah. You got
Perfect. Perfect.
Exactly.
Nice question.
Here's another, since we're talking about random tips, but anything in Creative Cloud, in Cloud Documents, you can save to your desktop or to Cloud Documents. You have, let's go to Assets. Does that make sense? Like anytime in the latest version of Photoshop, you have Cloud Documents that I could save to. But those files are actually in here, assets.adobe.com Cloud Documents. So I can select this. This is actually a PSD file, a Photoshop Cloud document. And you can see I was actually already like adding comments in here, but I could send this link to someone, have them review it, and we can have a conversation around this PSD. So it's a fancy way to share files, right?
That's only people that have Adobe, right?
Only Creative Cloud.
But you don't need to be logged. You don't need to be logged in. You don't need, in order to see it, you don't need to have Creative Cloud. You just you won't. I think it might just say guest or something. I'd have to try that.
Ah, okay.
I'm not sure. But you shouldn't need Creative Cloud to see this stuff. And again, all it is in here. It's these cloud documents. It's the same thing. So you get the idea.
Nice.
Cool, guys. Well, time.
I'm going to use that for all their schoolwork. To mark up everything.
They could sneakily go in and change it, I think. Like, I think I could go in here and, like, because I misspell things all the time, I could go in and change that at midnight and then update it.
There you go.
So that's the question. I save this, and I give it time, like, will the background change to blue?
Ah, I see. Probably takes a minute or so. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, there's blue.
Wow, that was fast.
Wait for it.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, yes, you don't even need an account.
It hasn't updated yet. But check this out. Look at this. Oh, look. Change to blue. Look at this. Timeline. Look.
Wow.
We actually can see, at 7:02 p.m., but today at 2, come on. Show me what it looks like at 2 is what I want. Anyway.
I got you.
But there is a little bit of a timeline, a little bit of a history in there. But anyways. Like a time machine. Live in the future. That stuff. Well, cool, gang.
All right, dude. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. If you have any more questions, like hit me up or ask your teacher.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks. See you, buddy.
See you, buddy. See you, bud. All right, man.
Yeah.
So how do I like